Hey, good morning, everybody. We're finally up and running. We're live, and once again, I'm behind schedule. Sorry, not trying to waste anybody's time. I really appreciate you tuning in. And so, I'm going to take a look at who we've got present here on the live chat. Good to see you again, Mike, Aaron, Leanne, Mary, and we've got our usual crowd, don't we? I see that. I see that this has a similar feel to one of my workshops where by the end of a few days, everybody starts to get to know each other. And I notice that I am less and less a part of the conversations. It's great. I love how you greet each other when you tune in and make it a fun time. Thanks for all of the fun activity that you contribute. We've got Aaron back. We've got Tom. Good to see you, Tom. Good morning. And we've got who else? Who else do we have here? 42 viewers right now. All right. All right. Cool. I think that that's better than the last couple have been. 42 viewers. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to work again with oils. I just felt like in the last video, a lot, a lot of energy was taken away from the project by the things that went wrong. So it'll be fun to follow up and do some more. You can see I've got a skateboard clipped to the wall, and hey, from Mississippi, Beth. All right, thanks for the shout out. Good to see you, man. Beautiful country over there in the Midwest, lower Midwest, Mississippi. Do you consider that the South? I'm not sure. I have yet to visit the South, but I grew up in Ohio. Man, do I miss water. I think that's why I paint water so much, is because I just am always hungry for it, thirsty for it, maybe is the right word. Karen says, hi, everyone. Fiddlesticks is here. Howdy, Joe. Thank you. Thank you, Fiddlesticks. Good to see you, too. And so what was I saying? We've got the skateboard clipped to the wall because if you look at my video, painting a mural, one day mural, painting a mural in one day, what is that called? Let me see here. I've got a video with my friend Dwayne Koyawena. And so he's Hopi. That's what that name is from. He's a Hopi guy, one of our Native American tribes here in Arizona. And so, sorry. Windows right there. We got a couple loud motors going by, man. So I'm typing in one day mural because I want to leave this link in the live chat right here. And I'm just using Google. Yes, I came up on Google when I typed one day mural. It's probably because it knows that it's me searching. And so I'm going to go here real quick, copy this URL. I'm going to put it in. It's not like it's hard for you to find this. But I'm just going to do the work here. So I'm leaving this in the live chat right here, and there it is. Give it about no, that comes in right away. So in that is my friend Dwayne, and he put together this awesome exhibit of skateboards. It's a skateboard exhibit. It's traveled around the country, different artists' work on skateboards. And so these skateboards are not for the purpose of being ridden. This is just for an art display, and I'm finally getting to painting it. And so that's what I'm going to do on this. Use my oil paint because oil sticks. I find that, it's a pretty safe bet. Whatever material you're painting on, it's hard to find a material that oil-based paint will not stick to. So I'm thinking, hey, this is a good opportunity to do this skateboard because I know my oil paint will stick to it. And since durability is not an issue with this one because no one's going to be riding this, I just need to paint a nice picture that's going to stay on there. And so it's likely a polyurethane finish on here, and I'm just going to go straight on it with my oil-based paints. So if I really wanted to be thorough, I could prep the surface, maybe use a liquid deglosser. I happen to believe in chemicals more than sandpaper. Some people like to sand, give the paint something to grip to. Maybe that works great. I feel like the chemical bond is more valuable than the texture of the surface. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do, and we've got a few more people tuning in. Good to see you, Jacob. Jacob, oh man, I meant to get in touch with you some time ago. I still got you on my mind. I'm thinking about that. And hello from Vietnam. All right, cool, handsome and brilliant. Thank you, thank you. Oh man, that's too much. I don't deserve such flattery, but thank you. That does make me feel good. I'm 40. I officially have some gray hair. My wife was very happy to find a gray dot in the back of my head somewhere in this area. You know, maybe in one of these days in a video it'll show up, my gray dot, when I'm turned around painting a picture. It's like as big as a freckle, you know. It's just one little spot. Okay. Hello from Vegas. All right. Good to have you back, RJL. And we've got Steve here. I think good to have you tuning in, Steve Sheehan. Did I say that name right? Steve Sheehan. Sheehan. And let's see if we got any other newcomers. Nana is back. All right. And we've got Wings and Things Studio. I love that username. It just kind of rolls off the tongue. Wings and Things Studio. I got to go to your channel and see what that's about. I never did do that. Good morning. Good morning. All right. So what I'll do is start putting some paint on this skateboard. Poor Joe, I'm almost 50, says Aaron. Hey, man. Be excited about your age, man. It's like finishing a race. It's fun. I think it's an exciting thing to run where many others have run before me and see how well I can do it. You know, what else is there to do in life but run the whole race, try to get to that finish line. I'm not the type to, to want to stay where I'm at. It's like I don't want to stay young. I don't want to stay here. I don't want things to be the same and continue on and on. I just like the adventure of it all leading to the day I die and, going to heaven. For me, it's going to heaven. I know a lot of people have different beliefs about that, but that's my excitement. I just love getting older. So I gave up my running years ago. Says I love to run. I do love to run. I'm losing speed, that's for sure. Okay, now I'm gonna come over here. Let's flip to the other camera, and I'll show you what we've got. I just clipped this right to the board that I've been painting on, so you can see the dragon painting back there still. So I'm gonna try to make sure that you've got a real good view, and what I'm gonna paint, I'm thinking, is something happy, and this is why I want to do something happy. Because why do people skateboard? It's to be happy. I mean, that really is what I can boil it all down to. That's why I skateboard. That's why my son skateboards. It's because we're looking for happiness. And there's just something really happy about feeling the wind blowing on you while you're cruising on some wheels and going up and down some hills, whether you're extreme or not. Man, it's about trying to be happy, feeling good. I don't know, maybe Ben will tune in, but Ben is on a vacation right now, so I was careful not to bother. I didn't want to text him on the phone and say, Ben, come on, jump on the live chat, because maybe he's sleeping in. He's having some quality time with our dad, who lives down in Payson, Arizona. So he's on a vacation. I want to be respectful of his time off. He is a big help. So I'm going to be trying to pay special attention to the live chat while I'm working. I'll keep glancing over, and I'll make sure I give some spots in between paintings so that we can handle questions that come up. But it looks like everybody's ready for me to get going, because we don't have any big important questions to get through. That's great. So let's start painting something. Don't pull the gray hairs out, says Mary, because they multiply. Do they? I'm a natural skeptic, so I'm just thinking about whether or not I want to believe what you said. You're probably right. You're probably right. Okay. Now, let's go like this. I'll get my smaller brushes. I'm thinking this, and I want to paint flowers. I want to paint a flower on here. A flower. Maybe I won't just do all flowers, but I think a flower on here is happy. I'm just thinking of things that make me happy and something that maybe you wouldn't, that would be less predictable. I love the less predictable things in artwork, and so it's just not the first thing you imagine on a skateboard. I'm sure it's been done many times, but I want to paint something that makes me happy. Man, there's just one color combination after another that is so perfectly crafted on flowers. You can paint your house, you try to get a good color combo, you'll do it wrong 10 times to one time looks okay. But man, we pump out color combinations, and it's very easy to get bad color combinations. Anybody trying to paint their house on their own knows that you get dissatisfying color combinations very easily. But man, when I look at flowers, good, 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 good. It's all well done, you know? And so I try to learn from those patterns. I'm going to try to paint a flower with a good color combination based on what I've observed. So I got to have color in the shadows. I've got the same cup that caused the chaos in the last one. That's the one that fell down and burned my leg. It is, you know, that whole video. I took off my shorts because that's where it was. I was painting in my underwear for a little bit. The camera wasn't on me, for those of you that didn't watch. She wasn't watching my legs. But I was painting in my underwear for a little bit. But I forgot that it was on my socks. And so my ankle was burning after that 2 hours straight of having paint thinner on my socks. But I washed it off with soap. Everything's fine. It's not burning anymore. All right, we've got kind of an autofocus thing going here. I got to make sure that this is working right. And we're going all from imagination here. So what I'll do is I'm going to put it, I'm a lover of lines and shapes. So I want to think about paths, lines, how the shapes are going to point to each other, interconnect, so that there just feels like the whole picture. I want to have some kind of a direction. So I'm actually thinking of attention to the right side here, attention to the left side here, some way of swooping it together. And that's just my initial thought, just thinking out loud. And I'm going to make a flower. Comes out like this. I don't know, man. I don't know what kind of flower this is, but I do love that red. So I'm just putting the shapes flaring out in perspective. The one thing that I do have figured out right now is the direction that I want it to be facing. So I'm going to put big petals swooping up like this. I guess it's some kind of a big lily kind of a flower. We're going to go up this way, up this way. There's a petal. And maybe we'll put one here. Let's kind of squiggle these. Go this way. Now the trick to flowers is keeping lots of color in the shadows. If you lose color in this, whoa, man! I'm looking at the camera. That is red. Of course, on the I have a view of the YouTube feed as well. This is probably closer to what you're seeing. I want to keep the colors as true to life as possible as I'm painting. So I'm just examining to see if it needs adjusting. So that is just pure cadmium red, I believe. I want to, is this the one I put on? Is that the one? This does not say cadmium red. What's this one? I feel like I had another red in my hand, but it must have been this one. Let me see. So this is Grumbacher, and the color I think says rouge. I don't even know how to read colors on these things. It'd be helpful if they named it some word that I actually have in my vocabulary. Here. Then I would know when I saw it, oh yeah, that's the color on the label. Instead, I don't know if it's just like the directions in an alternative language or something. you know how the instructions for a product are in more than one language on there. I look at the color. If it's a word I don't know, I think, is that instructions or is that the color? Okay. So I think rouge was the name of that color. I'm going to leave color here where I've got the shadow. I want it to look like it's going down right here like a trumpet. So watch what happens when I put some white on here. If I grab white, and I think that the wisest way to do this, probably the best way to do this, is use a palette, because oil, you know, it's not like it's just going to dry and I can just use my painting per palette, mix it later. It's not going to be that kind of thing. And since this is a finished piece that is going to be displayed in places, I better find a way to mix my colors. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to have another clip right here. Here, let's go like this. Maybe this will be better. You'll see it better if I put it on this side. Boom. Right there. Now we've got a palette. I like to have everything in the same view like this. So I'm going to put white on there that I can use. So if you get all of the bright color that you want on a flower or anything real colorful, butterflies, flowers, things you want to be real bright, if you get all the color you want and then start adding shadow to it, you can get a very disappointing result, because paint is not capable of providing color in the highlights and the shadows like the high contrast light that we see in the natural world. So when we look at light, you know, we can see a very, very bright red. I mean, I could shine a red stoplight next to this and it's going to make this look like a dark shadow on the camera. So we can see color way brighter than this red. But the paint cannot produce that. It can't. So we have to lose color when we get lighter. We have to lose color when we get darker. And so if I know that the criteria for my translucent flowery look is color in the shadow, which it is, we've got to see that color is in that shadow so that it looks like light is coming into that shadow through a transparent material. Then I've got to start with the color and then add white. I've got to sacrifice color somewhere because we need contrast. So in order to keep color in my shadow, I'm going to put white on my highlights. So I'm just adding some white in here, and then I can add some dark colors in this shadow. I can make it darker. I just want to think about how much darker I can make it, because if I go too far, then it will cease to look like the translucent look of a flower. So we're going to go down like this. This is funny that I'm going to end up doing a how to paint a flower video on a skateboard. Last thing I would have thought would be the reason that I did a how to paint flowers video. But I have already done some how to paint flowers videos. I did some. Now this oil is fun because I can just pull these colors around and make some texture in here. You can already see the effect beginning to occur where the highlights are creating my horizontal surfaces facing the light, and it looks like it's dropping down into a very colored shadow now. Let's go like this. What about going towards yellow for translucency? Absolutely, you do. But right now, what I'm painting is I'm painting the reflection. So it's good to distinguish between color shining through something versus reflecting off of something. It's when it's shining through something that we have that shift of the hue, where we have that rule of shifting hue. So I will put this moving toward yellow as it gets brighter. So in this colored part of the shadow, you know, I'll put it shifting. Better to show than to tell. But on the reflection, I just use white, and that's what causes this to look like reflection instead of light shining from the back side. So I have two different ways to lighten this color. Maybe there's light bouncing off of the surface, making a color more like this, kind of a more pink color where it's definitely not shifting its hue toward yellow. But then if I want some light coming through that petal, that's when I'll need to add yellow. So let's keep that in mind. I don't have a place right this second to put it in, but I certainly will as I progress. So now I'm thinking that we need a highlight right in here. Let's grab some white this way. Maybe there's a petal going right toward me here, and then maybe there's another one right here. I think this is enough. How many? We've got six petals. What kind of flower is that? I mean, I am painting it from imagination, but I don't think it's fair to say completely from imagination because I never would have known what a flower looked like had I not been shown it. So, you know, from imagination, I guess from memory is the more accurate way to say this. Okay, so then I've got my colors, and I'm going to grab some of this red and put it down here. I'm going to put the base of the flower going down here into a shadow like this. And then I think it'd be fun to have maybe another flower. And I think the other flower should be a different color. But here, let's see that rule of shifting hues. The rule of shifting hues, I like to call it. I named it that because when I was researching this, I just noticed that nobody else was talking about it in a organized way. It was all kind of touchy-feely, you know, just kind of put a color like this in this kind of a place, and then kind of, sort of, oh man, where's the instruction? You know, I couldn't find any. And so as I was researching and found this pattern, I decided, you know what, I'm going to call this something so that this can be referred to in an organized, useful like manner. So I call it the rule of shifting hues. And when light passes through a substance, it tends to shift the hue toward yellow from wherever it is. So if it's red, then let's say we've got some light that we can see through, well, probably this whole flower because they're just such transparent objects. So I want less light down at the base. It's going to be darker there, but more light up higher here, or I could put it down low. What's going to happen is wherever I put that yellow, it's going to cause the look of light popping through that flower instead of bouncing off of the flower. So here, let's do this. Since I'll decide that this is the bottom, this is the top. But if we have light kind of coming, you know, from higher, then maybe see how this flower is this way. We've got a higher side. So if we put more yellow on this side, like this, and then use a gradient right here so that it's more red. Look, there's not as much light shining from the underside of the flower. So this is how I put light popping through it right here. So let's put that, and then, you know, maybe we've also got an actual yellow color on the flower as well. That'd be kind of fun. Go like this. And so then let's get a couple things telling the same story, like I always like to talk about. We've got our yellow popping through right here. Now we just need some reflective light on this side. So this is kind of saying, well, there's more light from the top side shining down here. I feel like this would be easier to see also if I lowered the exposure just a bit. Let me see. You can tell me if this doesn't look better, okay? Give me a second here. And what if we went like this? Give me just a minute. And what if I put this up here? Is that too dark? You tell me. It's hopefully going to show a little bit more color on there. So I'll flip it back if you don't like it. You can just tell me if that image is more helpful to see this effect. Because I'm looking at the computer screen thinking, oh man, I wonder if this effect is coming through because it's a subtle one. Now I'm going to put white right here. I'm putting it on heavy enough. You know, I talked about the difficulty of white actually covering. You know, that's always a challenge. Okay, white right there. Now the purpose of this is to show that we've got the upward facing edges right here. And we'll put some white right here. And that's in harmony with what this shifting hue is suggesting, that the light is coming from here. So now I'll put this in place right here, lighten that petal. My flower looks like a bird got hit by a car. Man, I'm sorry, Mike. I'm sorry it's like that. Too dark, but the brightness might show better. Okay. Here, let me see what we've got on there. Yeah. All right. It's a bit dark, so maybe it's not the best to have it on that lower exposure. Here, let's flip back. Let's flip back to here. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Sorry, sorry. Okay, let's go to there. And we'll go back to this guy, and maybe just a smidge we'll darken it down. Just a wee bit. Okay, try that one. Let's see if that looks better. Okay. Tell me again. Just keep me updated on the image so that I don't lose track. Oh man. Playing with toys here. Okay, I'm putting white on there, and now I feel like I need to be creative with this. So I've got a real basic looking shape. What I'm going to do is start trying to get more of a continuous blend of these colors, get some gradients coming out this way. I think this will look better. Blend that out like this, blend this way, go like this, and then maybe some darker red on this one will enhance my chosen lighting scenario. So I'll grab some more of this red, put it on there, and go like this. Right here, I could put more of this darker red, because if this is facing toward the light, this would be facing a little bit away from it. So I'm just going to darken this spot right there. It's amazing to me how our perception of these things is so automated. It's very hard to talk my way through this and understand what's happening so that I can reproduce it. It takes all this research, but once it's produced, your mind knows exactly what to do with it. Like, okay, we've got the information we need. We can see that that is a flower facing to the left and toward me. You know, it just puts it all together because of the colors that are there. But consciously, it's just so hard to talk through it. It's just something that fascinates me. Okay, now I'm going to put some more red on this little spot as well. And I think that flower needs some other colors. So in here, I like this yellow. I like that yellow, and I'm deciding what colors I could put in there. I'm gonna bite off something real difficult here. See if I can bite off more than I can chew on this project. Let's put the middle getting bluer as it goes down, because I saw this color combination that I thought was just awesome on a water lily, and so I'm going to try to produce that. So if I use French ultramarine, I happen to know that the French ultramarine blue is very purple. It's a very purple shade of blue, and that is not going to turn nearly as green as others. Did I get the right one? Yeah, French ultramarine. Just, oh man, my friend Jazz, you know, he was here in Arizona, and he hates French ultramarine. He's like, I hate French ultramarine. I hate that color. Every time I get it out, I just think of his emotional reaction to French ultramarine. Okay, let's put some French ultramarine right here. There. Now, because of how purple it is, like I said, it's going to start by making this middle more gray. And I'm just going to fade that up into here like that and wipe excess off of my brush. It's going to keep scraping paint off of this surface. Then I'm going to apply more blue and then white right here. So I'm going to make a bluish shadow just because I think the contrast of the blue against all this red, yellow, orange is going to look real fun. I think it's going to be a dynamic combination of colors. Let's put blue on there. And then I'm going to take this color and go right up the center of that petal, just because I think it'll look good. Then we'll put some of it coming right across this one as well. Right across this one. And then I'll put some going right here. I'm just trying to be creative with where the color is. But, you know, I think the big challenge with creativity is maintaining believability. That's the hard part. Okay, let's put lots of blue down here now. Like this. And then put it going up here. Like that. And over here. Right there. And right here. And I got to make sure I put some white in there. Boy, I might have did myself in on this color combo. This is a hard one to pull off. I got to keep adding white to this in order to get just the right darkness. Here, I don't want it to be that dark. The darker the blue is, the more it seems to be kind of turquoisey, and I don't want that. So what I'm going to do now is add this magenta. So magenta is my go-between. Whenever blue hits other colors, it always wants to get real green, and that is such a opposite effect that compared to what we see when natural light mixes. So I constantly use magenta to reconcile that strange difference in the mix when the blue hits a color and turns to green. So everywhere this blue is hitting the yellow, I'm going to put this magenta right there, and it's just for the purpose of making it less green. Bring this way, bring this way, right there. And now I'm going to add more white. Let's put more white on this side because this is the side facing more upward. And hopefully that magenta is working in there now to keep this from looking green where they maybe just gray instead of green. That's what happens, you know, if you've got green and then you add magenta to it, it's likely to just turn into a much more gray color. And that's what I'm looking for here. A gray color where the yellow meets what I want to look like a light blue going down into a shadow. So we're just putting that color in there like this. Okay, now I think I'm ready to put a darker. So I still want my look of translucency, right? So, man, this is hard. I'm going to try putting a more vibrant blue now. Let's see if this one works. It's less purple. This is cobalt blue. I'm going to put it right here on this half where I've got same thing happening. You know, the red turns more yellow as it goes up there. So the blue is going to go toward yellow as well. And that is going to turn slightly more turquoise, which is toward yellow. You know, if you imagine just adding a touch of green to it, then when I take this white and lighten it just enough that we see the, and hopefully equal darkness of the color. I might have to scrape paint off and put paint back on. That's a normal process with oil if you're creating as you go instead of having a good plan at the beginning. You might find yourself scraping paint off in order to put more paint on, but that's the fun thing about it. One of the fun things is that you can do that. That's actually a very viable option for painting. So I want more of a violet blue on this lower half, and I'm not there yet, but I want to see more of a brilliant turquoise blue right there in that spot. So I'm going to try again. Here, let's put this paint up here on my palette. Let's try pre-mixing this one. Just get a dab of blue, because as I mix it on this painting, I definitely lose it as it digs up the red colors that are under it. So here, right here is where I want that color. Right there, right here. right there. Okay, there. Now do you see how this is? You know what I realized, man? I am zoomed way out. We could be getting a way better shot of this. Here, let's go like this. Let's go like this. Man, my bad. Let's head back over here. I actually love alizarin crimson and red cad together, says Manal. I can see myself creating a mud-colored mess if I would do purple and turquoise on red and orange. Yeah. Well, it's a lot of wax on, wax off process, But the good news is you've got plenty of time to fiddle with it. And this is something that I've learned over time with painting, is that I greatly underestimated the impact that very small differences in color relationships in a picture create big visual impact, big visual difference for small attention to this gradient. These little things give very valuable information as to what we're looking at. So I want the look of a little more light passing through that top side, a little less in here, so then I can put more white. Oh, I went up here, look, this is funny. I went up here to dip in my white. Old dry acrylic white here. This is dry. It was rock hard. I went up and I was like, man, why is that not coming off of my brush? It's down here. It's this one that's got all the red stuck in it. Okay, so that'll just be off camera for a minute while I go up here. Sorry about my shaky hand. So those colors are off camera, but I'm not adding any new colors to the palette. I'm grabbing white, and now I'm just enhancing my highlights on this side. Let's get some light colors in there. And maybe just grab a bit more for right here on this blue section. I'm going to get more of that French ultramarine. So just because it's more purple doesn't mean I have to be more gray. So I'm going to try to get a little more color in this. Try, that is. We'll see if it works. There we go. There's that color I'm looking for. And then this one, I'm going to enhance this. These are all just trying to enhance the effect that I've got. Let's put this blue right down the middle there. Right in this area. So up on this top side where the light's shining through, I've got my brighter, more turquoise. Down here below it, I've got my more reflective color. I'm going to see if I can grab more of my brighter turquoise blue here. If you really wanted to, let's just do this. Let's go all the way with the brilliance of that more turquoise color. And what I'll add is phthalo blue. So it's only my findings, I'm sure there are other brands that are good, but the Grumbacher phthalo blue is the one that I've really found to work for this. I'm looking for it right now. I've got oh, here it is. Lots of labels that I have a hard time reading. Oh, that is not it. I grabbed the wrong color. Manganese blue, come on. I don't want that. Look, I thought it was phthalo blue. I put it on there. I've got that light blue right there. No. It'll probably work though. It's not the worst thing I ever saw. Here, let's grab some, see what it looks like. Very oily. It kind of separated in the tube. These must be real old. So anyway, a color like this. All right. Change of plans because I couldn't find my phthalo. Let's go down here and just put that right in here. Oh yeah. See that brighter turquoise, what it does for that? it does for that look. Just in here where I want it like on the opposite side, it's catching some light. Okay. Then let's get our darker blue right here. So this is a good example now of, you know, I feel like we're far beyond how to paint a flower, because you don't need to paint all this to paint a flower. But this is a good example of the difference between the shifting hue, creating the look of translucency, and just adding white to create the look of reflective surface. Like that. So now I'm just going to just run with this color scheme. I've got everything in place that I want to see. From here on out, it's just trying to make it better. So if I grab some yellow, I can put that, and maybe it would be smarter to grab some orange, because orange will not turn quite as green in the event that I nick the blue. You know, I don't want to put green in there, but I really like the way that highlight looks, that orange. So I'm going to really blast this little section. Orange, and then that orange fades to red as it comes around this way. I want just a little of it, but not as much in here. It's going to be less. And then I think it'd be fun if I could create like an overlap of the petals too. That would be a good effect to have in there. Let's go like this. I think even a little bit of, well, let's just put yellow here. Let's go. Let's really make this more dramatic by just touching it with yellow right there, right here, there, just in those spots, so it really glows. See how that shift toward yellow creates that backlit glow that I'm after. Just in case I need more, I'm going to put that yellow up here. Just put it on my palette there. Happy accidents, indeed. Love that orange. All right. Thank you. It's gradually coming together. Now, I gotta just maybe put some petals in front of other petals, right? Because that's kind of how a flower grows. We've got some overlap. And so maybe I want this yellow color. I like that as not just a lighting effect, but as one of the colors on my flower. So I'm going to take some of it, but I just need to be careful not to take too much. I've got to make sure that it is not nearly as vibrant, as saturated of a color as I come down here. So I can put my same yellow, but if I want to keep that look of translucency, then when I come down here, I just need a less saturated yellow, less colorful, right in here, like this. And maybe the orange is a good option for that, because the orange will hit that blue, turn a little more gray, as long as it looks yellower than the colors around it. I'll put this leaf, this petal, over the top of this one. It's going down that way. And I'll put it over the top of this one as well. So I'm thinking, let's make this one brighter. And then let's put this darker one in front of it right here. These dark colors, I'm just going to create an edge like this, so that this is an overlap. Now I'm just trying to get the look of overlapping petals. Okay, maybe a bit more orange will be good in that spot. Let's put some orange on my palette. Here's my palette that I'm working from. Why don't I just scoot up this way so you can see some of my colors there. Right here. Just tiny bits go a long way, you know. This is the more tedious and boring part of the project. So I'm thinking if this one overlaps, this one is back, I'm going to put this one forward again. Let's put this one in front of that one. So light, which one is lighter? I don't know. Let's put the back one a little lighter. So maybe some highlight right here so that I can see this edge. Like that. And then I can see this bit of red coming right down here in front of that guy. This is going to make the whole thing look better, I think. All right. I think this is getting a little bit boring. So it's time to move on to another kind of flower. I got to put a different one down here. And so that is after. I mean, it's boring to some extent, but then when I realize I missed something, it's like, oh, but it would be so good. I'm such a double-minded person. It'd be so good if I added this. Let's put this in place. I just put a little more shadow on that upside so that I have more of that concaved feel to these. Yeah, and then this, you know, this is bending toward me, so I think it'll look good if this part of the leaf is a lot more of the saturated red. Got tongue-tied there. Wherever it bends toward me, I'll use a more saturated color so that it really looks like the brighter reflection on these areas. It's such a frustrating thing a lot of the time to paint a flower because of the highly sensitive nature of the colors. You know, you're working with colors that are very similar, all very close together. We've got the slightly grayer, slightly bluer, slightly more orange. So this is not a task for the faint-hearted. It's quite a challenge, but I think that getting better at that challenge starts with understanding what these difference makers are. So I'm just getting an edge visible here. You can see it's not a very extreme difference. I'm getting just enough that I can see that. And so I'll put it more red where, you know, maybe we've got just a bit of an edge flipping up, but then perhaps we have more white. Let's borrow some of that white. More white right here. Oh, we grabbed blue with it. Let's get that blue out of there. Okay. More white. But I keep touching my nose while I'm working. This is not a great habit to have. Okay, reflection right here. Coming right across this petal. And right down into there. I want that. See how I kind of lost my edges, so I'm trying to get it back. Like this. Okay. All right, I think I'm pretty happy with that for the time being. I can always mess with it a little more later. You know, and get it just using these same colors, but I think the key to getting this dialed in right where it looks real nice in 3D and everything's just like I want it is really just fine-tuning these same details. You know, I hate for the answer to be in tedious things, but I think in this case it really is. I think it's in the tedious stuff. The answer, just the perspective of this petal is kind of bothering me. Let's bring it over here. Like that. Put some white on here and right across there. I'm just scooting this petal over a bit now. Like this. See if that looks better. Maybe borrow some of this color and put it right in there. And then borrow some of this white and put it right here, here. Boy, that definitely was the hardest spot on this picture, where it wraps around right there. That's where it got me. Let's see if I can take some red, get a little more visible edge on my leaf, like so. There we go. Bend it right down into the middle of that flower. Take this one. I like putting these shapes way down in there so that I've got some cool lines. Just bring it right down in there. Okay. I want to move on real bad. I do. I want to move on, but I'm just not quite ready. I got to grab some of this, put it over here. Got to get this shape just so, just like I want it. Man, what is it that bothers me so bad about that shape? Ugh, I hate that thing. I'm going to go like this. It needs another petal. It's a 7-petaled lily. The perspective is driving me crazy, so I'm just going to change it. We're going to put a leaf in. Put another petal right there. Okay. This is now going to be 2 petals. Right there coming across. Let's take this red. Ooh, that looks nice. That darker red coming out of that shadow. So, I think this will be a better enhancement to it. And then maybe we'll rearrange this one, maybe bring it over here and put some shadow under there. Okay, so now, shadow. What can I use for shadow? I think blue and red make a great shadow. Let's see what happens if I put some... Oh, here's my phthalo blue. Nope, that's the manganese blue. I moved it out of the way. I lost my phthalo blue. Let's put this French ultramarine. No, let's put this cobalt. Let's put this here. And we'll get some good shadow under here, under the leaf. Even a hummingbird. We're talking dragonfly things to add into it. Oh, that'd be cool. That would be cool. But man, I'm going to kill myself on details if I start getting into adding animals. That is going to hurt. I'll never be able to get good progress done. I'm already making the whole video about just this one little flower. Okay. There, I've got some shadow. You know, I just need to define my shape a little bit better. Having trouble visualizing. Right there, let's put some shadow under that petal. Okay, now we need a blue flower. I think a blue flower will be fun. So I gotta find that phthalo blue. Here, give me a second here. We're gonna cut back over to the other cam. I'm gonna see what's happening on the live chat, and I'm gonna find that blue that is missing. It's down here in my bucket somewhere. Got this one. Nope, not there. This is what happens when you just throw everything into a big bucket like this. Ah, that's what I'm looking for. Phthalo blue. Okay. This color is what I want to use to get a real good bright blue, but it doesn't work. Like I said, be warned, it doesn't work that way with every brand. But I can get a good bright blue. So, always a good lesson, says Diane. Hey, you're welcome. Thank you. It's an honor to have you watching, Diane. Okay. Let's see if there's any questions I need to answer before I head back over and start painting again. Man, the ideas are coming in. I love it. Lots of creativity out there. Hummers are attracted by cactus flowers too. Man, we got lots of hummingbirds around here. I learned, I didn't even know about the rufous. If you never heard of the rufous, you got to look at that. There's like a hummingbird that's more aggressive, chases the others away. Gardeners, bird people, they're, far more familiar than I am about this, but it was kind of a new thing to me how the rufous is like the cranky hummingbird. That's what I should do. Put the rufous on here, chasing away, because that would add that little bit of aggressive nature that we see in skateboarding culture. No, I don't like that idea. I'm not going to do it. Will this be a wall piece? Yeah, a wall piece for sure. This is for an exhibit. No, man, first time someone hit a rail with this, it would totally destroy that. But for display, it will stay stuck on there for a long, long time. Would you use green as a contrast? Yeah, green would look great on there for sure. We don't get Hummer in UK. Really? Interesting. Are you painting the bottom? Yeah, it's the bottom side. It's the bottom side of it. And so, it's just kind of the standard thing because the grip tape goes on the top. And so this is for for anybody that wasn't watching along near the beginning, this is to go in an exhibit that is various artists and their work on a skateboard. So it's like the skateboard exhibit that my friend Dwayne Koyowena put together. And I just posted that video because he appears in the video. He doesn't talk about the skateboard exhibit. That video I posted earlier. But that's what this is going to be next to other artists' work on skateboards. And I thought, man, it's cool. You've got this idea and he really hustled to get it like in all kinds of great shows. So let me flip back over here, change the camera, and then we're gonna add another flower. So I'm thinking down here we need a flower now. So maybe there we've got. Let's just get the camera focused. I'm thinking something much bluer. And I don't know what other colors to add to it. Let's just see what comes out. Let's see what looks good. I'm going to start with some phthalo blue. And this is my go-to color for my most intense blues. I get real good turquoise. Put some white on there. And now when I start mixing this, I'm going to get a real nice bright blue. And it'll be very easy to just scrape this off as I need to. I'm just going to start with something to look at because I find it easier to adjust what I'm looking at than to try to get my vision right on there the very first time. So now I'm going to try to be more creative with this flower. I'm going to put two petal thingies coming down like this. Let's make them like this and maybe make them like maybe heart-shaped petals. And then make this one going up. This is kind of a fun thing that happens in flowers is sometimes they have an asymmetrical design. I love the asymmetrical flowers. Let's go like this. And maybe this one goes that way. And then we'll put let's put some white highlights in there. How about? I think we'll need some shadow here where it goes down. Right there. And let's put white. So we've got some white up in here. I'll have a white up here that I use for blue. When I'm doing oil paint, if I touch the white here on my palette, if I scoot up here for a minute, if I use this white, I might want to use this later for reds. If I touch that with blue, man, just a warning if you work in oils. The moment you touch a color to this white, it just blasts it. Look how the red just gets all up in there. With water-based paint, this is not nearly as much of an issue, but my white, in order to be preserved, I'm going to use a white here on my palette for highlighting my blues because you know, the color that touches it is going to affect it so dramatically it'll interfere with my color scheme. So down here I'm going to start painting my blue flower, and I'm thinking that we have bright highlights right here like this, and then we've got some on this side going this way. And then maybe we've got some lighter color. I think this would be cool if I had, let me get something that I can scrape away paint with. I gotta find like a, let me get my towel here, because I'm realizing that I would really like the look of it if I, look how yellow that looks. It's just the color of the wood coming out from behind. But this is a real world example right here. This is a real example of the role of shifting hues. As this paint is rubbed more transparent, it's shifting toward green as this is shining through it, you know. Also because, you know, we're shining a yellowish color through a bluish color, but as this becomes more transparent, if we wanted to create that effect of the paint being rubbed thin there just with paint, even though here it's real, that's the real effect, we've got to shift the hue, we got to shift it toward yellow. So there we have like a real example. Well, I scraped that off so that my white will make more of a difference when I put it on here. I'm going to put a white center coming up out of this. And then I think that it would be fun to put some magenta doodads. This is a gardening term, magenta doodads. It's a scientific word. And that's what happens on this blue flower. I'm going to call it the, I don't know what to call this flower. The blue, fairy? Okay, let's go like this. Put these coming down right here. They're popping right out of there. I love the magenta coming out of the blue. You know, I love that look. I'm just smoothing it out, just dragging the brush real lightly upward across these just to get those to blend out of that blue, and they each get more magenta as they pop up here. And maybe these are like maybe those are the little stamen things that carry the pollen. And then I'm going to put an orange middle on it. Here, let's do this. Man, orange and blue, isn't that something? I love that. That's eye candy right there. Like I said, it just makes me happy. You know, flowers make me happy. Love flowers. Now I'm going to put red right here. And each of these little things, I'm going to put a red highlight. So I might have a process here of scraping off old paint, putting new paint on. You know, I want this to get bright, and my blue, it comes through. But like I said, when I'm working from just creating as I go, then this is inevitable. You know, I'm changing my mind, and I could be much more strategic with this if I thought about these flowers before I did it. But it's fun to just sit behind a brush and be creative. So that's what we're doing in this one. I'll grab some white and put a highlight right there and there. Let's put some brighter highlights at the tip of each of these. Now this is exactly what you're talking about when you say mine looks like mud. This is exactly what happens, because we've got opposite colors and they're just mixing too much. And that's good sometimes when we want to shadow, but when we're doing highlights, this is why in oil it's good to to have your light colors down first wherever possible, if at all possible. So when this happens, I've got no choice. I'm just like anybody else. I'm stuck. I'm stuck with having to scrape off the paint and just put more colors on, or blasting it with just a real heavy load of paint. So what I'm going to do is scrape some off. And in each of these spots, I'm just going to reapply my red, magenta tip of the flower reproductive organ. Let's do this. White and red. Okay. Now we've just got it pre-mixed, so it's less mixing on the canvas is probably helpful too, because that's just going to turn it all muddy. Pink right there, pink right here, pink right here and here. There we go. And I can always wait for those to dry and then come back to them, Now I'm going to get more of this magenta because I really like the way that shadow looks when it goes down into here. Grab more of this for each one of these little stems. One there. One right here, one right here. I like the way that color just disappears into the blue, and then that light blue behind it. Okay, so then what am I going to do? I think this looks real nice having that light, but now to enhance this, maybe some dark will look good coming out of it. Some more shadow. See, these labels look the same, so it keeps tricking me. These look very similar. Not the same. This one is that light blue that I don't want. Okay. Phthalo blue. I'm putting it up here. And I'm going to grab some and put a shadow right in here. So this is getting darker as it swoops down into this. There's something just really, really cool to me. It's just a really attractive effect. Maybe because it's complex and hard to get. When it gets darker into a shadow, but then goes to a lighter color, like a color that's getting lighter but darker because of the shadow. The combination of that. So this blue is getting darker because of the light. But then it's like the inside of the flower is shifting to a lighter color behind those stems, and that combo to me is just real dynamic, fun to look at. Let's go that way. Okay. Now I think to finish this one off, we need just like a touch of a different color on the tips of the petals. We need some kind of a, I don't want to get too too many colors kind of takes away. It makes an object look not as good. So I'm thinking right there, I want to put maybe back to the orange. Let's go back to orange. And white. Let's grab some white and orange. And that should make a pretty gray result. Might turn a bit green. And in that case, I'll have to use the magenta to undo the green. But for now, let's just see what happens if we add that orange. Yeah, not green, but greener than I want it to be. So what I'll do is apply that. Well, I don't know. It might look fine if I just leave it like that. Here. Let's just see what happens if I pull some white into there now. Brown and blue is a pretty cool combo. Brown is just a dark orange, you know, as you can see by this. And so I like the contrast that it makes when I do brown against blue. Ooh, that's kind of a fun look. I like that. Let's put some lines going out this way, lines going this way, this way. All right. I'm going to leave it like that. I like that flower. It's a good one. And then we got to just think of something to enhance this down here. So let's just fill it in with some dark greens. All this stuff can be, you know, to turn this into a much more realistic picture, I'll tell you the secret. You don't need detail to be realistic. Someone asked me about hyper-realism not long ago. And what you need for realism is to eliminate the things that stand in the way, not to add things. It's all about taking away things that interfere with your instincts that say that something is real. Because you can see a very non-detailed photograph, right? Just think of a photograph that is extremely detailed, or I mean extremely blurry. Just think of a photo and how it doesn't cease to look real. It's not the amount of detail that makes something look real. It just happens to look really cool when someone does both, when they've got the detail and they've got realistic light and shadow. I just added red because I thought it'd be nice while I was talking. I just thought some red in between there be a good transition between those two colors. Maybe some more white. Let's do some more of this white right here as well. There. So now if I do if I go through and do a real soft blend on these things, then I think they'll look more realistic. So that's what I was getting to with all this, is that realistic is just blending away the things that don't look real. You know, you just look for those brush strokes that are kind of standing in the way of what otherwise might look like a nice leaf or petal shape or a shadow. You just scan your picture and blend those things away. Kind of like the sculptor that said, I just cut away everything that doesn't look like what I'm making. So I'm putting green on here now, and I'm going to grab a whole bunch of my white, get some bright green colors. Yellow and blue is probably a better choice, but I can get there with green and yellow and black. Would get the same result probably as yellow and blue. And what I'm going to do is just blend these colors. Here, let's put this camera down so that you can see the spot I'm going to paint. We've got kind of a strange angle on there, so let's get down here. Give me a second. It might shake a little bit while I'm adjusting this. Let's go here, and now we can zoom back in for a minute. We're going to paint some leaves behind these guys. And let's see if I'm missing anything important here. I'm reading the live chat, and I'm going to cut for a moment right here and go back here. Dark green and yellow green highlights. All right, all right. Liked the spaceship vid, but every vid he makes has such amazing content. Hey, thanks a lot, Paige. That's pretty nice. That is if you're talking about me, thank you. I'm just embarrassed if you're not. Hi, Tiger Boy. Good to have you here. Like the username. Oh, I did do one. I did post a YouTube video Yeah, because someone here's mentioned the one room we painted with gradients in flower. I mean, I painted a whole room like that, and I guess I did post a video. I painted a huge flower, yes. Yeah, and I had the little girls help me. I forgot all about that project. And so that was a great study. You know, if you work big, then it helps you to really separate the parts of things. So when you're trying to learn about something and the parts that you need to have in place to achieve an effect, I mean, has been how I've learned is big, learn big and then shrink it down. Much harder to try to learn small and then blow it up when it's time to paint a mural. So I like to study big and then shrink it down, remove the details that I want. I'm glad you brought that up. I totally forgot about that video. What would we call that? It was like Fairy Cove. They wanted like a little fairy cove, Pixie Cove, modeled after the Disney program or something. You'd think it'd be opposite, says Paige. Yeah, for sure. I've used watercolor, Stephen, yes, when I needed to very quickly add color to a drawing. I don't think I've ever tried to produce a nice finished piece with watercolor. That sounds like a big challenge, and I always really admired good, skilled watercolor artists because you don't get to erase. You know, you don't get to just paint over something with water. It takes a good plan, and similar to how I try to start with my light colors in oil, you have to be very mindful of where your light colors are because it's the white of the paper. So I feel like a watercolor artist could really have a firm understanding of the difference between CMYK colors and red, yellow, blue colors because you're layering on white exactly like the CMYK system. I thought, man, I wonder if they have like a better grip on color mixing. Yeah, I like it. Maybe I should do more in the future. Okay, well, I don't see any big new questions. I'm going to continue painting the leaves now. I'm going to do the green. Norman says, have you ever used an airbrush? Yes, that's been mentioned in these live streams as well. I gotta pull out the airbrush and do something in a video. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it on a live stream. A lot can go wrong with the equipment. When you're like me anyway, if you watched yesterday's or Monday's stream, a lot can go wrong. So I'm a little nervous about pulling out equipment. Of course, that would just add to the entertainment, wouldn't it? So we're going to start on these leaves, and let me go over here and flip the camera back to this one. Here is a quick way that I like to put leaves in place. We've got leaves. Just mixing yellow and green, and I'm going to leave some areas darker, some areas lighter. I'll use this color to cut off this. Look, blend it right into that purple. Opposite colors are going to make something a lot more gray. Be a lot more shadowy. And I'll bring it up in here, get rid of this red. I can cut off some of these edges. And once some shapes start to emerge, this is why I love mixing on canvas so much, because shapes are just going to start emerging. Gives me something to look at, and all I do is remember to put space between them so that I have shapes. And it doesn't matter to me at this stage exactly what those shapes look like, because the perspective of a scene can make all kinds of different shapes. So if I take some black now and put it in here, and I'll just do a little. So I'm going to put black on my palette first. I don't want to put a big load of black right on the skateboard. I was going to say right on the canvas, but it is in fact a skateboard. Where I'll put this black is where it's already dark, and that will give me some depth. So in my darker greens, right within those areas, I'll make even darker shadows. So I'm just using what's already developing. And then if I just cut the edges of these off a little bit, and what I mean by that, cut the edges off, is I've got a black blob, right? Black spot. And so then I can go in here and right on the edges of that black, make an intermediate color, go over it a few times. Now I've got a more distant shadowed leaf somewhere in there, just that, just a an impression of a more distant piece of foliage back there. So see, I worked off of the edge of the black to leave black in the middle, darker green here, darker green here, and then I get these different values coming out of my black areas. So I'm starting to get a more three-dimensional scene that way. I'll grab some black and put it in here, right under that leaf, right under this one. And I'm not going to make all of my edges soft and blended. I think it's fun to have a few sharp edges in there too. Look like the edges of leaves. But wait till you see this last stage when I add the highlights to these. It's so fun to just see the leaves pop out once you add those highlights. I'm going to grab a different brush that doesn't have that green on it to put some dark shadow on this. And I'm going to use that darker, more purple blue, because this one I want to look less illuminated. I want this to be going down into the foliage. So right here, I guess I'll leave it lighter here, but then when I go down further, I use this darker color. And so it's getting more violet as it gets darker. And as it comes up into the light, it gets more turquoise. That moves it toward yellow. And that is our rule of shifting hues that gives me the light coming, gives that translucent look to the petal. All right, now I'll put some, let's get back into the green, and I can probably just put a little shadow on each side. Now we've got maybe a stem on that flower. But I don't need great detail in this. It's just a believable background, and believable doesn't come from the details. It comes from not breaking rules, actually. So, I mean, being creative is very much a process of breaking rules, but you break too many rules. And what I mean by rules are, we have patterns that we can identify in nature that are reoccurring, that we rely on to tell us what we're looking at. So there are rules that let you know that there is danger or no danger in front of you, or that somebody is angry or happy. There are rules. There are repeating patterns. And so without that, then everything becomes a chaotic guessing game, is what I imagine. And someone out there is like, you just described my life. A chaotic guessing game. Anyway, what's helpful is understanding, okay, if I put these patterns in place that we can identify in nature, if I put these patterns in place, then I'll have this look. And then if I don't put other patterns that suggest opposite things, then I've got realistic, and I don't need lots of detail. So I'm putting black, and then I'm just making the greens. Notice that the greens get yellower as they get brighter, and that happened because of the workflow. I added yellow to get lighter colors. Remember, I added the green, then I added yellow. I think I have yet to add white into that. I think I better not say too soon. I actually don't remember. I don't remember if I added any. But yellow lightens it. And then I have the hue shifting toward yellow as it gets brighter, which causes these leaves to not look like plastic, but like something that has some translucency to it. So now I'm just going to kind of scramble up these shapes a bit so that it's not just black or green, but it's all kinds of intermediate intermediate colors. And then we're ready to put some highlights. So I'll take some white. Let's grab this white right here and put it where I already have a bright leaf. So right there is a good spot. And man, it's so disappointing putting white on oil. It just doesn't do anything. When you're used to working with water-based paint, very frustrating. It's like being used to working with paint and then moving to the digital world and having your blue and yellow make gray. It's like, well, that's not what I wanted. Oil is just disappointing in that way. You put white on the spot where you want the highlight and almost nothing happens. So you just have to lay it on there. You know, you just got to use a whole bunch, or you got to scrape off dark paint. One or the other. I have my theories on what that is, but the more videos I make, the more I realize that it's not always great to start talking science-y about these things, because there's a particular audience that is attracted, that likes to know things more than they like to help somebody. And so it's like, okay, well, let's keep our focus on what matters here. Okay, let's do this. Do this. I'm just looking for green spots to add little white highlights. And so see this yellower section? This is a good place to show a hue shift, the way to use a hue shift. Turns yellow and light shines through it. So let's say this is the underside of a leaf. So that means that I should be able to just add green and white, something like this here, to this area to get the top of the leaf. And then hopefully I can create a leaf that is folding in perspective. And that's the underside of it right there. Underside and the top side. So I can actually get a, look, it's like a darker color on the top side, but because of that hue shift, it has the look of the underside with the light shining through it. It's just the shift of the hue that makes that look. So let's take some more white and maybe add some upward facing reflective color right there. Like this. And maybe a little more highlight right in there as well. I like the way that leaf looks popping out from under. So we get this nice three-dimensional look by just starting with the green, finding the shapes, put the shadows, put the highlights, and then it gives me something to run with. So then to fine-tune this, I won't go through and fine-tune it too much, but like I said, if you want a realistic look, this is how I would achieve it, is going through each leaf and saying, okay, I've got these shapes going straight across. Those look like brush strokes, not a leaf. Get rid of them. Getting rid of things is going to be much more effective than trying to add things. So I'll start by just getting rid of the things that don't look like a leaf and look like something else. And then everything else will get forgiven as just absence of detail. Dismissed, maybe, is the better word. Dismissed as just an absence of detail. But as long as it's not sending an opposite message. So here, the edge of this leaf, see this kind of, that's not a very leafy edge. So let me grab some black and just smooth out that edge. Here, better if I just grab black from my palette up there. Gonna make it look good, but the key, as far as I can tell, is just eliminating those non-leaf shapes. So see the non-leaf shapes on that? I mean, it looks great. I'm not saying this doesn't look good. I'm just saying that if I want to bend this toward more photorealism, for lack of a better description, then this is my workflow. So these shapes, all I do is just get rid of those with a light touch, start blending those out. And the absence of what looks like brush strokes leaves the rest to imagination. That's all. And then above and beyond that, of course, I can add lots of stunning details. But those stunning details are going to count for a lot more if I get rid of the things that are not looking as much like a leaf. I'm going to stop there because that's enough. That looks like leaves. I'm happy with the way that looks. I just wanted to give that little demo on how to bend things more toward realism if you want to go that route. Man, that thing got me. That flower really got me. I want to see if I can win this battle real quick with this red petal before I zoom out. Before I zoom out right here. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab that red. Here, we got to rinse my brush a little better. I want to put pure red shadow right here. Let's put it under this. Well, which one should go on the foot? Let's put this one on top, this one under. Let's go like this. There, this has shadow forming the edge of this petal. And then we're going to go like this. Right down into there. It doesn't really look better. But you can see that if I want to work with the light and shadow trying to fine tune this shape, I go to the color. I'm not going to try to do this with black. That is going to produce bad results for you. Use color in the shadows. That is the biggest difference maker in painting flowers, is get color in those shadows. I'm going to grab some more of this white and start putting this. Put this petal right here. And put a shadow under that one. There we go, just a tiny little edge. I'm trying to build the perspective of petal on top of the middle petal. And then this one comes up here, overlapping that guy. I'll probably have to scrape paint off to get some more vivid colors here. But I like that. I like that better. It's going the right direction. So I'll probably just have to, not in this video, but as I work on this piece, I'm going to do this kind of a process, just trying to get that lighter, keeping color on my shadows as I develop that shape in perspective and trying to fine tune these shapes with just the right colors. Man, it's a tedious booger of a job. I at least am liking it better with that decision to add the extra petal in there. I do think that was an improvement, if nothing else. Still gets me, I am certainly not above the trouble spots that I'm like, I can't fix it, I gotta walk away. And the perspective of these petals, that, man, I'm telling you, if I had a couple more hours to spare, I feel like I'd eventually get it. But this is a good moment to see that I certainly am not immune to those frustrating moments of defeat. So I think that we are running pretty low on time, and I wanted this to be more content, I was definitely hoping I would get more painted, but I guess I'm not as good as I thought I was. That just happens sometimes. Let's see what's going on the live chat. Glad it's still streaming. Yeah, man, we're going a long old time. We're at 10:47. Hey, I've got nothing to lose by keeping on going. Now, I have some things I have to do today. I've got a real job. Someone asked about a mural projects going on. Well, it just so happened right after that, the on-site job I need to do some graphics at a new medical center location. I have to go paint some big flower and mushroom and just fun shaped graphics on some walls. Not the fanciest thing I ever did, but it's going to be nice to get out of the house and do something. That's calling for me today, so I can't just stay on the live stream as much as I love it. Twice as fast with acrylic paint. It is fast. Acrylic paint is so fast. Yeah, everything just goes slower. Well, because, you know, while the oil gives you lots of time to smear and blend, I find it harder to get right to, you know, it to dial it right into that color I'm looking for. It's like, oh, I keep trying to lighten this, but then the base colors are coming up, they're blending. Those kinds of problems are just never ending with the oil. So it takes me longer to get to the colors I want to see. So this picture is gonna need some more work for sure. I think the other thing that I want to put in here is like something thunderstormy. I think that'd be good. That's another thing that makes me happy. And, you know, my theme for this is things that make me happy. Colorful flowers and a thunderstormy looking sky. I think that would be cool too. Maybe I'll just do that. Maybe I'll start in on it. Please make a video how to get better in painting. Everyday tips. All right. Everyday tips. But, you know, maybe you can elaborate on that a little bit for me so that I can understand exactly what you mean by it. I don't know if you mean better everyday tips or better everyday tips, you know. So off the top of my head, what I'm thinking is that what getting better every day means for me is going out in the field and just loving what I'm looking at and asking a question every day that I don't know the answer to. So that every time I sit down with colors, I'm trying to arrive at an answer to a question. And the good news is that I have posted the answers to so many of my questions. You don't have to start where I started, you know, but if you type in the question, how do you make something look translucent? I've got videos posted on what those are. But to get better, you know, is finding the answer and then experimenting with the paintbrush. There is no replacement for you being behind a paintbrush and manipulating it. And so there is no fancy answer. There is no trick, no secret, because you have to find your own way of quickly getting from thought to canvas, understanding the goal and the colors and shapes that are going to get you there. But for me, the question comes first. You got to have that good question that you're trying to answer specifically, instead of just free flowing whatever I feel like in the moment. That can be fun, but you know, I have just found having questions to be faster for developing skill. Okay, now what I think I want to add in this last thing I'm going to add is some clouds, because I think that'll just be a really fun mix. And how cool would it be to have like water beads on these flowers? That would be awesome. I should totally do that. You know what I'm going to do? Here, let me zoom in real quick. For another project, maybe showing the metallic feathers or metallic anything. What is SF and RD feathers? Sorry, I don't know what that is. But metallic is something to talk about. That is a very good question. The way you get metallic is by not shifting the hue. So when I shift the hue, I get translucent. Okay, so if I like go the opposite direction, if I make the shadows get real gray and the highlights more colorful, and then don't shift the hue toward the yellow as it gets brighter, then you're on your way to making something more metallic. It's putting the environment in the color. the reflection of all the colors in the environment. And the truer those colors become, the more the reflection becomes the environment, the closer it gets to a mirror, which is all the way. That's like 100% metallic effect is a mirror. But if you want to make metallic red, then you just put so many colors in that red that are evidence of the reflected light in the environment. A demonstration would work better, but you can look at my video, How to Paint Metallic Objects. I have posted that, and I think it'll make a lot of sense. Also, in the fantasy painting, I did a episode where I was just creating a big kind of magenta blue, weird looking reptile creature, and it was multiple episodes. You can look in that one because there's a section where I did metallic looking patches on that creature I was doing. So search my videos for those keywords, finding metallic things. Now, I've jibber jabbered enough about that, and I've decided that I want to see clouds on my picture. So that's going to be the last thing I'll paint. Some clouds behind my flowers. I'll switch cameras in a moment here. I didn't forget about you, but right now all I'm doing is just squeezing some paint on there. And then I'm going to smear it around. Let's see if we've got something easier to smear it around with than a brush. Let's take the excess, put it right there in case I need it later. Look how slow this is with this. Still blending, still blending. If it was water-based, it'd be like done, but it just skips around when it's oil. You can always add a medium to it, you know. Yeah, thin it out, but I don't like what that does for the finish. Wonder if you have done stained glass in a painting like the, yeah, I did actually. I did stained glass, okay, like the flashes of light sparks. I don't know if I've gotten so detailed with it, but for a stage prop, I had to do stained glass. And so what we did was we just did black and white. I did the frame of the stained glass window black, and then I put the colors transparently over the white, because that's how you get the brightest color. So all we did was simulate a color with white shining through it. It was that simple. I didn't even bother with like trying to shift the hue and all that, because it was doing its natural thing with putting a thin layer of the color over a white background. It works pretty good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is shift over here and put the camera up like this. Let's put it about right there. And we're going to want to see some clouds in here. So this is the last thing. I'll just do a real quick layout so you can see where I'm going with this. And maybe we'll add to this on the next live stream so that we can see more progress with my skateboard to contribute to the unique exhibit. I mean, I think this exhibit has made it into some pretty prestigious places. Good job to Dwayne for the vision that he had for it. Starting with my light colors, because with clouds, light colors are very important. And then I'm thinking I want to do, let's see, I'm thinking red or orange. Let's do orange, because I want to put a glow on these clouds. I want them glowing. So I'll start with orange and mix lots of white with that orange. And the goal is to work from my lightest colors to my darkest colors. So what I'm going to do is make these clouds glowing from the middle. Need some butterflies and buzzy things, Joe. Yeah. Yep, I feel you. I know what you mean. That would be fun to have that in there. Well, I'm going to start just by getting the mood right. You know, I'm just getting the mood that I'm after. So we're getting some white and orange. Let's put some more orange right here. And I don't know, maybe the clouds kind of come together. Maybe there's one back here behind it. It's going to be fun doing this with oil, but it's also a temptation to spend way more time than I should on clouds. You know, It can really suck you into a never-ending project when you get going on details with an oil painting. Okay, we've got our orange in place, and then let's start putting, I can skip to magenta, you know, so if I go toward violet for shadows, you'd think orange, red, purple. So I can just skip to the magenta. I don't have to use all those colors because this magenta is going to mix with that orange and give me intermediate colors. But what I want to see is now the darker little edges of cloud. So I'm just putting little spots all over this, and like I did before in other videos, I'm going to blend the edge, all these spots, I'm going to blend the edge that's toward the middle of the cloud, not toward the edge of the cloud. So I blend this edge, this edge, this edge, creating a whole bunch of little gradients going in this way. And it's a real subtle thing, you know, you can get a whole lot out of these tiny details. Look, I just dragged the brush across. Here's something I love about oils, is how they persistently stay in place. It doesn't just destroy the image when I lightly drag that brush across. I can still see where those colors are placed. So then I can go in here and work those some more if I want to. I'm going to grab more of that magenta and put some darker puffy shapes coming out like this. Looks like I might want to make some, might want to use some blue in here as well. Maybe I should have just used red. I don't know, because I don't want this to be so purple. We'll see. I'm going to put darker cloud down here. Less orange. I don't know why, but I just think it'll look good if I have a darker bluer cloud down here. And this up here is the one that's glowing. I'll do the same thing on this one. Put magenta in place. Just a bunch of little swoops. They're going to be all my little puffies on the cloud. Like this. And then just thinking about blending any edges that are on the cloud side. Blending it back toward the cloud. And it's just a couple little brush strokes, you know, just enough to make that, on these it's the left side edge. Make that left side edge softer than that right side edge. Right, here we go. How about a little more? Oh man, I like that color. I don't think I've ever just went straight to magenta like this. I think this is the first that I've done this method. All I really know is that I just need to have that order to the colors. Let's grab this blue right here. Now we're going to do the phthalo blue. This is my deep dark blue. Real concentrated, powerful color. And so I'm going to put that on these areas that I want darker now. Look how turquoise that is. I don't want that. Hopefully as it hits this magenta, it's going to change. Here, just to make sure that it gets darker, I'll use red, because red is going to kill that blue color way more quickly than magenta will. So if my blue is too turquoise, red is just a real quick kill. Okay, so I'm just trying to be creative, put shapes where I want to see them, but as they get darker, I'm staying on these As they get darker, they get more purple. And maybe even blue, because the color that they're coming from is blue. If it's like a big blue sky, maybe I've got bluish colored clouds. But I want them to just gradually get brighter and more orange as they're glowing from inside or from behind. Something's lighting them up. That's my idea. So I'm putting that blue on top of this, and I'm wanting it to, here, let's borrow some of this red. I need some red. Put it in there. Get some of that. Put red right here on the edge. Now I'll just do a real soft, if I just drag a brush across that, I bet I could get a big brush and do like just a quick blend across it. Blend those shapes all together. Grabbing just a bit more red. These spots here are going to be too turquoise, so I'm putting red wherever I think that turquoise is going to be too extreme. Remember, it's blue to violet to red to orange to yellow. It doesn't have to hit all those colors. That's the order. That's the order that I want it to go in. So as I grab these lighter colors and put them in here, hopefully it hits that red and we get rid of the blue. So now let me grab this bigger brush and just soften this whole thing. This is something you can't do with acrylic paint. Is that effect right there. Let's go like this. Blend that together, blend this together. Notice I'm just going this one direction because it seems to do a better job of leaving edges toward the outside of the cloud, and that's what I want, to keep the perspective of my cloud. So this is the effect, but the effect is still too extreme. I've got the pattern in place, but the pattern is so extreme that it looks like a strange color effect has been added to my clouds. They've got all those dark patches on them. So all I need now is just to gradually dial down the subtlety. Okay, so here's my orange color that I want to be coming out from under these. Right here, let's take that bright color. And same thing, I'm just looking for edges. Looking for the edges on my clouds and blending them accordingly. We don't want those sharp edges with each dark shadow, each little clump as it goes toward the middle of the cloud. That's where I want to see the softer edge as it goes to the edge, as it's going toward this outer edge of the cloud. That's where I do want to see edges. So I can take this dark color and redefine some of these little puffs in here. Like this, put some there, let's put some coming across here. To me, it's kind of a simple process, but tedious. Simple but tedious. It takes time. You got to sit here and mess with the picture if you really want to have this effect in here. But for a thunderhead, for that look, that signature look of a big thunderhead, I need all those little puffs in the cloud. And this is something that genuinely just makes me feel happy when I see a big thunderhead like that, glowing because the sun is on the other side of it or something. It's just like, man, what an awesome light show. It's just the coolest thing. I'm just trying to make these differences still visible but less extreme. So taking that light color, blending it into this dark, blending the blue and red together so that we don't have anything too red or anything too blue. Just the colors that are in between. There we go. Man, oil. I'm so used to working with water base. You know, you kind of work light knowing it's going to dry dark. But with oil, you got to work dark. You got to think about getting nice and dark in order to see your colors. It's opposite in so many ways to working with water-based paint. I don't expect that this is going to darken much as it dries. And it seems like it has the potential to have plenty of color within much darker shades so that you can just shine a brighter light on it. Perhaps that's because the paint particles stay more translucent themselves so that you can just shine bright light on it to really brighten up darker colors. Okay. Pretty happy with that. And I think what's really gonna top it off is if it all just gets more of a gray blue as it goes down. Let me grab some red. Gray, blue, violet. Where's my red? Let's go right here. And then let's add some white to that. So I'm just going to scrape a big glob of white off my palette there. And this is just a blue and red mix. That's all it is, just blue and red. That's what I'm going to put behind these flowers. There we go. Man, I love that shadow. Maybe some more white would be good. Well, we'll see. I really like the look of like bright colored sunny flowers in front of a stormy looking sky. That's a fun combo. Let's get this blue, go right here. Put a shadow on this one. Come down behind this flower. I just need to see more of a completed picture. You know, I'm just trying to get this put together, give myself something to look at. In order to see that blue flower though, I'm not even going to see that blue flower unless I change the color scheme behind it. Let's get some of this white. There we go. See that blue flower? It's going to get lost in there. So we got to get light there just for the sake of the artwork. Use some lighter white color and come right down here. Well, I think this is a real decent concept. I'm excited about where it might go. Definitely going to take some time to evaluate it, you know, sleep on it, come back, look at it with fresh eyes. I'm not trying to turn it into a masterpiece, you know, I just want to do a real good contribution to this show that he's got with these skateboards because I think it's such a cool idea. Cool concept to do an art show that's got a bunch of different artists work on skateboards. I thought it was real clever. Let me see what it looks like if I put phthalo blue right in here. Just something to make this flower stand out. Yeah, I'll work on it. That's kind of a, I'm dissatisfied with that blend right there, but you know, you've seen my workflow. I'm just going to do more of it. Maybe add some red in the transition, add some white, and just gradually get those colors to stand apart better. You know, I think what's missing from it right now is just that it doesn't stand out in front of that background. Here, let's blend this. That's going to be tricky to get this petal to show in front of that blue sky. I might have to just go a lot less blue on the sky in order to get my flower to show up. Well, we're going to shut her down right there and call it good for today. That's good progress. I got my happy stormy clouds behind my bright flowers, and I'm liking the concept. So I'm over here looking at the live chat. Let me get it off my big nose there. You're looking at my honker. Let's cut. There we go. It's fun looking at that from a distance. I see the zoomed out image. I like the vibe that it has. You know, it's different. Stormy cloud behind bright flowers. Science fun fact here. When a thunderstorm is coming at you, it pushes away positive ions. You feel that change, and that is why you get that feeling when they are coming. Whoa. Never would have thought that. I just know that I'm really energized. The energy's like, oh yeah, we got rain coming. Everybody in the whole town is like, we got rain coming this week. Yeah, you know, we get so dried out here in the desert. It's like a magical moment when the rain hits the desert during monsoon. Lightning happens because of the displacement of ions. We're getting sciencey here. It's cool. Thanks, says Leanne. You're welcome, Leanne. You're welcome. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure painting, having you guys watch me. So I'm going to shut her down and remind you that the next live show will be on Monday. And that'll be the same time, Monday, 9 a.m. And that's Mountain Standard Time. So tune in then. To continue this, I'm just going to continue this picture and probably limit it to just one more video. And Aaron Mason says, "Come to UK. We get sick of rain." Yeah, man, I've been. We went to Germany to see a friend years back, and yes, you have no shortage of gray weather. Right. In Ohio, it was real similar to that. I grew up in Ohio, but I think even Ohio has more happy sunny days maybe than up there in the UK. Maybe slightly less overcast. Maybe the same, I'm not sure. Okay, see you Monday. Guys, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure doing this. And so we'll do the same thing. Oil-based paint, working more with it. Think of ideas to throw my way. And I'm trying to think of something else clever to say. Anything else I'm forgetting? For anybody watching for the first time, I've got various how-to videos for sale on my website. Many of the free videos here on YouTube have full-length versions that you can see there on my website, in case you didn't know. And you're doing me a real big favor if you subscribe to my channel. I'll remind you of that. I appreciate it. I'm not going to jibber-jabber any longer. So it's been really fun hanging out. And I'll see you Monday, 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time.